Imagine waking up in the morning and realizing that your entire life has been defined by the expectations, opinions, and judgments of others. Every decision was not yours. Every path you chose was shaped not by your desires, but by the fear of what others might think. How much of your life truly belongs to you? Today, we will embark on a journey to uncover the powerful truth about living authentically, free from the chains of external judgment and approval. By the end of this video, you will not only understand how to break free from the shackles of others' opinions, but also discover the key to a life that is truly yours. The final revelation will be the most transformative. So be sure to stay with us until the very end. Let's dive into this universal struggle. This is a struggle that concerns everyone. The need to be loved, accepted, and approved by others. Although it seems natural, it can take over our lives. When this need gets out of control, it quietly steals our joy, authenticity, and even the meaning of life. Today, we will use eternal wisdom. We will turn to philosophers, psychologists, and thought leaders to help you find a path to freedom and inner peace. The challenge is to reclaim your personal freedom. Think about how often you stop yourself out of fear of criticism or disapproval from others. Perhaps you are afraid to wear your favorite clothes, thinking they are too bright, or you don't share an idea at work, fearing it will be considered silly. These small moments accumulate and turn your life into something created not by your dreams, but by the quiet fear of judgment. Where does this fear come from? The answer lies deep in our psychology. Psychologist Abraham Maslow, known for his hierarchy of needs, explained this. He argued that humans have an innate desire to belong to something. We crave connections and community, and this desire for acceptance is wonderful and important. However, this drive for acceptance can become a prison if it turns into an obsession with approval, when we sacrifice ourselves just to fit in. The ancient Greek philosopher Epicurus said plainly, "If you want to become better, be ready to appear foolish and unreasonable." These words may seem harsh, but hidden in these words is a deep truth. Growth, freedom, and authenticity require us to give up the desire to please everyone. If you constantly try to fit into others' expectations, you'll never find the space to become who you truly are. Let me ask, whose opinions do you live for? Is it family, friends, colleagues, or maybe strangers on social media? In reality, no matter how hard you try to please everyone, there will always be someone who finds a flaw in you. Why? People view the world and you through the prism of their own experiences, insecurities, and biases. Their judgments say more about them than about you. Remember the story of Vincent van Gogh. During his lifetime, he was mocked, rejected, and considered a failure. He sold only one painting. His works were criticized, but Van Gogh never stopped creating. He did not let others' opinions silence his passion. Today, his paintings are recognized as masterpieces and admired by millions. What if he had given up art because of disapproval? The lesson is clear. Don't let others' judgments stop you. Follow your passion and be authentic. True satisfaction comes from living in harmony with your values and passions, not from meeting others' expectations. Many of us struggle with this shift. Since childhood, we have been taught to seek approval. As parents, teachers, and society often encourage conformity and suppress individuality. This creates a habit of valuing external judgment over the inner voice. Over time, this upbringing makes us focus on external recognition, forgetting our own desires. But the truth is, no one but you lives your life. No one else will feel regret over unfulfilled dreams, the sting of compromises made out of fear, or the emptiness of a life lived for others. Only you will experience this. So why give others the power to dictate your happiness? To break free from this mindset, two important steps are needed. The first is to realize when and why you seek approval. Pay attention to moments when you hesitate, feel pressure to conform, or change your behavior to avoid criticism. Ask yourself, am I doing this for myself or for others? The second step is to gather the courage to be authentic, even if it disappoints those around you. This does not mean ignoring. Living sincerely means making decisions that align with your values and desires, even if it causes discomfort. Psychologist Carl Rogers believed that authenticity is the key to self-realization. He wrote, "The curious paradox is that when I accept myself as I am, I can change." Self-acceptance provides space for growth and transformation. But the path to authenticity is not easy. People may resist when you put your needs above their expectations. Criticism, rejection, and even ridicule are possible. In such moments, it is important to remember, those who truly matter and love you will support your sincerity, even if they do not always agree with your decisions. And that's the beauty of it. Living sincerely, you inspire others to do the same. Your courage becomes a beacon encouraging those around you to break free from fears. Take a minute now and think, how would your life change if you stopped worrying about others' opinions and started living your truth? What decisions would you make differently? What dreams would become your goal? This is just the beginning of our journey to freedom from others' opinions and truly living your own life. In the next part, we will explore practical steps to silence the inner critic and reclaim your personal power. For now, think. Your life is a gift. You deserve to live fully and authentically. What would you do if no one was watching? Let's continue the path to liberation from others' opinions. In the next part, we will delve deeper into practical strategies and reflections that will help you stop being a prisoner of others' judgments. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast forest. The road ahead is unclear, and every step feels uncertain. Behind you, voices warn you not to go further, to avoid risks, and to stay in the comfort and safety zone. These voices are the opinions and judgments of others trying to hold you back. But the forest ahead is your life, dreams, and potential for movement. Moving forward, you must learn to ignore the noise and trust your instincts. A common trap is overthinking and seeking approval from others. How often do you replay conversations in your head, analyzing every word, thinking you might have said something wrong? It's exhausting and drains your energy. Or do you scroll through social media, comparing yourself to others, feeling inadequate because their lives seem more successful and perfect? This mental spiral is tiring, stealing peace, confidence, and energy. How do you break free from this state? It all starts with changing your perspective on the situation. The famous psychologist William James said that the main weapon against stress is the ability to choose one thought over another. You can't control others' opinions, but you can control how much power you give to these thoughts. This is the key to inner peace and self-confidence. Here's a powerful exercise. When you start to worry about someone else's opinion, stop and ask yourself, is this opinion really important in the grand scheme of my life? Most of the time, the answer will be no. A fleeting judgment from someone else, a random comment, should not control your life. One comment from a colleague or even a minute of disapproval from a loved one will not define your life if you don't allow it. Think about whether it will matter in a year, and in 5 years, and in 10. Often we give too much importance to opinions that don't matter in the long run. By shifting your focus to the bigger picture, you can free yourself from the pressure of seeking approval from others. This is an important step towards inner freedom. Another key step is learning to embrace vulnerability. Living authentically means opening yourself up to the risk of being rejected, criticized, or misunderstood. Yes, it can be scary. But consider this. Great individuals who changed the world often faced ridicule and rejection for their ideas. Galileo was called a heretic, Rosa Parks was arrested, and Martin Luther King Jr. constantly encountered resistance. They stood firm, not because they were fearless, but because they believed in something greater than the need for others' approval. Brené Brown, a researcher and storyteller, calls vulnerability the source of courage. She says, vulnerability is neither victory nor defeat. It is the courage to show up and be seen, even when there is no control over the outcome. This is the true manifestation of strength of spirit. The result of living authentically is the choice to be yourself, even when it is uncomfortable or misunderstood. This opens the path to a deeper and more meaningful life. Now let's talk about boundaries. We often suffer because of others' opinions, as we allow them to invade our mental and emotional space. Setting boundaries does not mean shutting people out. It means creating personal space for yourself, acknowledging the value of your time, energy, and attention. Protect yourself from unnecessary negativity and criticism. Start by identifying the people or situations that drain you the most. It might be a friend who constantly criticizes your decisions, or a family member imposing their expectations. After identifying the sources of stress, ask yourself, what can I do to protect my peace of mind? This could mean limiting communication with certain people, politely and firmly standing up for yourself, or simply avoiding pointless conversations. It is also important to develop a sense of self-worth. When you know your value, you need less external praise. Take time to reflect on your strengths, achievements, and qualities that make you unique. Celebrate your victories, even the smallest ones, and remind yourself that you are worthy. You deserve love and respect, not for what you do or how others perceive you, but for who you are. Repeat this affirmation daily. This simple yet powerful statement helps shift your mindset and build confidence independent of others' opinions. Now let's talk about a difficult topic: social media. It can be a great tool for communication and self-expression, but it also increases the pressure to seek approval. The endless stream of likes, comments, and comparisons can make you feel inadequate and disconnected from your true self. If you notice that social media affects your mental health, try setting boundaries for its use. This will help maintain your inner balance. This may mean unsubscribing from accounts that evoke negative emotions, taking breaks from the platform, or rethinking the reasons for using social networks. Ask yourself, am I sharing this post because it is important to me or because I want to gain approval from others? As we move along this path, remember that letting go of others' opinions does not mean becoming indifferent or withdrawn. It means reclaiming your power and living according to your values. It means realizing that you are the author of your story, and no one else has the right to write it for you. Take time to reflect on the steps you will take today. What boundaries can you set? What thoughts are you ready to challenge? What fears are you prepared to face? This is your life, unique and irreplaceable, and you deserve to live it on your own terms. In the next part, we will delve deeper into the psychological patterns that keep us in a constant search for approval and explore strategies that can help break free. Let's dive into this journey. We will identify the psychological roots of the need for validation and discuss how to break these patterns to regain control over your life. If you have ever felt trapped by expectations or feared disapproval, this is where the process of unraveling those feelings and finding freedom begins. Replace all of this with something much stronger: self-acceptance and inner peace. Remember your childhood. In childhood, our sense of self is fragile and malleable. We learn to see ourselves through the eyes of others, parents, teachers, friends, and even strangers. Praise feels like love. Criticism feels like rejection. Over time, we internalize these experiences, and they shape our perception of ourselves in the world. The fear of judgment feels very strong. This fear is linked to an ancient survival need. Thousands of years ago, rejection could mean death, as people depended on the tribe. Although society has changed, this deeply rooted fear remains within us and causes anxiety and doubt when judged. But there is good news. Just as these patterns are learned, they can be unlearned. It all starts with understanding. Others' opinions are not a reflection of your worth. They are simply interpretations shaped by another person's experiences and beliefs. In other words, what someone thinks about you says more about them than about you. Let me give you a metaphor. When someone criticizes you, they do not see you as you truly are. They project their fears, insecurities, and expectations onto this mirror. The reflection they see is distorted and colored by their personal prism of perception. Understanding this, their opinion loses power over you. To strengthen this understanding, apply cognitive reframing as psychologists advise. When you worry about someone else's opinion, stop and think. Ask yourself, what can this opinion reveal about the person themselves, not about me? For example, if someone considers your dreams unrealistic, perhaps this reflects their fear of failure or experience with unfulfilled goals. Reframing helps to perceive criticism as a projection, not the truth. Another important skill is developing emotional resilience. It is not about suppressing feelings, but about maintaining balance when faced with criticism or rejection. A practical way to strengthen resilience is mindfulness. It teaches observing thoughts and emotions without judgment, creating space between stimulus and response. Try this exercise. When someone's words hurt, Take a deep breath and acknowledge your feelings. Tell yourself, I feel pain. Sometimes it is awkward to name our emotions, but this helps to recognize them without letting them control you. Remember, this moment is temporary and does not define your worth. The great Indian philosopher Jiddu Krishnamurti said that the highest form of human intelligence is to observe oneself without judgment. Practice mindfulness and self-compassion. This will help you free yourself from the influence of others' opinions. But how do you replace the deep need for approval with something healthier? The answer is developing assertiveness. Assertiveness is recognizing and accepting your feelings, experiences, and decisions without relying on external approval. Start small. Take time each day for reflection. Instead of asking, what do others think about this? Ask yourself, what do I feel? Does this align with my values and goals? Over time, you will strengthen your self-trust. This will make you less dependent on external approval. Now let's talk about a common fear, the fear of conflict. Many avoid living authentically, fearing conflicts or rejection from others. But here's the paradox. When you compromise with yourself for the sake of peace, often in the end, resentment arises both towards the situation and the people involved. True harmony comes not from avoiding conflicts, but from the ability to honestly and respectfully overcome them. Remember this when setting boundaries or expressing your true self. It gives others a chance to know and respect the real you. Yes, some may resist or disagree, but those who truly care will appreciate your honesty. And those who don't, their departure is not a loss. Their leaving frees up space for relationships that support and nourish you. An effective tool for resolving conflicts is assertive communication. Assertiveness is not aggression or confrontation, but the ability to calmly and confidently express your needs and boundaries. For example, instead of saying, "You never support me," say, "I feel unsupported when my goals are ignored." Let's talk about this openly. By focusing on feelings rather than accusations, you invite dialogue instead of defense. Let me ask, how much time and energy have you spent worrying about things that never happened? How many opportunities have you missed out on because you feared others' reactions? Reflections on regrets often create a heavy burden. Usually, they arise not from the risks we took, but from those we avoided. One of the most liberating realizations is that most people are too busy with their own lives to think long about yours. Their judgments are fleeting. Their opinions are quickly forgotten, barely having time to appear. Meanwhile, you continue to carry these judgments, repeating them in your mind. You give them significance they were never meant to have. The truth is, it's impossible to please everyone, and that's okay. Life is not about universal approval, but about living in accordance with your values, passions, and purpose. The more you embrace this, the stronger you attract people and opportunities resonant with your true self. As you approach the next stage of the journey, ponder one question. What would you do differently if you weren't afraid of judgment? Remember this thought, because in the next section we will explore how to turn fear into energy and take real steps. We have reached the final stage of the path. This is where true action begins and self-expression happens without apologies. Everything we have explored so far converges to one point. It's time to turn understanding into action. Take the knowledge gained and direct it towards a new life. In this life, you will no longer be a prisoner of others' opinions. This is the moment when you reclaim your freedom and stop depending on the fear of judgment. Think about this. The fear of judgment is one of the most persistent obstacles to personal growth, yet one of the most unnecessary. No one lives your life. No one faces your difficulties, carries your burdens, or dreams your dreams. So why let others' opinions control your decisions? Fear often whispers, "What if they don't love me? What if they laugh? What if I fail?" But let me ask, what if they love you? What if you succeed, surpassing all expectations? What if the risks you take today lead to a future you can't even imagine? Fear is a double-edged sword. On one hand, it can paralyze you. On the other, it can push you forward. The key is to learn to use fear as fuel. Don't let fear stop you. Let it sharpen your focus and strengthen your resolve. Remember, fear can become your ally if you learn to control it. Courage is not the absence of fear, but action despite it. Let's talk about an important mindset shift, moving from external to internal control. External control is when your emotions, actions, and decisions depend on external factors, others' opinions, societal expectations, or circumstances. Internal control is the ability to take responsibility for your life, realizing that you govern your thoughts, actions, and reactions. This transition begins with self-awareness. Identify areas of life where you are most influenced by others. It could be your career, relationships, or how you present yourself to the world. Ask yourself, am I making choices for myself or to meet others' expectations? The next step is to align your actions with your personal values. What truly matters to you? What kind of person do you want to be? When actions align with values, clarity and purpose emerge that no external approval can provide. Be inspired by Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor and psychiatrist who wrote, in his groundbreaking book, Man's Search for Meaning, Frankl argued that even in the most difficult circumstances, we have the freedom to choose our attitude and find meaning in experience. He wrote, when we can no longer change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. This is the essence of internal control and the power of our choice. Acknowledging that we cannot control the thoughts and actions of others, we can manage our own reaction. And therein lies our strength. But how to put this into practice? It all starts with small, consistent actions that gradually change our lives. First, allow yourself to make mistakes. Perfection is an illusion, and striving for it only keeps you stuck. Instead of fearing failure, embrace it as a natural part of growth. Every mistake is a lesson. Every defeat is an opportunity to improve. Secondly, start saying no. It can be difficult, but liberating. When you refuse what doesn't align with your values, by saying no to social invitations or toxic relationships, you say yes to yourself and your authenticity. Thirdly, practice gratitude, which changes our perception and helps focus on the positive. Shift your attention from what you lack to what you have. This helps you see the beauty of your journey and the progress made each day. Take a moment to think about what you are grateful for. It could be the support of loved ones, a personal achievement, or simply the fact of your existence and changes. It is important to surround yourself with people who inspire and support you. Jim Rohn, a motivational speaker, said, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." Choose your environment consciously. Seek relationships that foster growth, challenge your perspective, and value your sincerity and individuality. Now let's return to the promise made at the beginning of this journey to reveal the most powerful truth. Are you ready? Here it is. The opinion of others controls you only when you allow it. It sounds simple but has profound implications. You have the power to choose, to carry the burden of expectations or let it go, to live in fear of judgment or in the freedom of authenticity. This path is not easy, but it leads to true freedom. Take a step forward with confidence, accepting yourself as you are. There are moments of doubt when the voices of others seem louder than your own. Remember that growth comes through trials and challenges on the journey to yourself. Every step toward an authentic life is a step toward greater fulfillment, joy, and meaning. It is important not to fear walking your own path. Now I will leave you with one last question. What will you choose? Will you remain captive to the opinions of others? Or will you decide to step into the freedom to live for yourself? The choice is yours, and the time for it is right now. Your life is waiting for you. Thank you for your attention and willingness to look inside yourself today.